Hello, I'm Janice Stephens Kaiser. I was born in October the 6th, 1939. They were 3 younger than me, and I was married to Ronald Kaiser in 1958, and we have 3 children, 2 girls and 1 boy.
I'm Sandra Lillian Stevens Carter, and I go with Sandy. And I was born April the 24th, 1945, and I was born at the old farmhouse on Old Whites Mill Road. I was married to Jimmy Clifton Carter in February of 1985, and I have 2 step children, and I have 5 grandchildren, and I have 3 great-grandchildren.
Okay, I'm Velma Stephens Tucker. I was born on the Old Whites Mill Road in 1938 in April. I'm married to Kenneth Ralph Tucker Sr. and we were married in July the 14th, 1957.
I'm Martha Stevens Queener. I was born in a house out on Old Tuckaleechee Road, and I was born on May 18, 1934. I was married January the 1st, 1954. I have 1 daughter, and I was married to Jacob Queener. I'll put that in. And 2 granddaughters and 2 a great-grandson and a great-granddaughter.
Okay, I'm Ray Stevens, and I was born on Old Tuckaleechee Pike, and moved into the old farmhouse. Don't know exactly which date it was, but then I married Emma Grace. Don't remember the name of the town, but it was in West Tennessee. When I married, I had a stepdaughter, Kathy, and then I had Stephanie Kay and Laura Harriet and Tony, and that was Stephanie was born in Memphis, Tennessee, and Laura and Tony was born in Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you. You come in handy sometime.
I'm Dorothy Stevens Reed. I was born on Tuckaleechee Pike but not where the rest of them was born. I was born on down toward the mountains a little bit. I was born on April 28th, 1930. So it's always easy to tell how old I am because it's 30. And I got married in on December the 14th, December the 17th, 1947. 49. Can I start over? But anyhow, I had 6 children. And Donna, born in 1950, Fred Jr., born in 52. They were born at Blunt Memorial. Then we moved to Texas, and Texas grew. Roger was born in Cameron, Texas in 1955. Jeff was born in Rockdale, Texas in 1958, I think. And then the twins were born in Rockdale, Texas on November the 13th, 1962. Donna, Roger, and Donna's little boy, Zach, are in heaven now with Mama and a bunch of other family. We moved back to Murfreesboro, and then we moved back into Mama's home place down on the road, not the one up in the woods. And I've been living there since 94. I think I got all that right. Betty.
I'm Betty Holman Stephens. I'm Betty Stephens Holman, and I got married in 1957. We had, I married August Harold Holman. We had 6 children, 5 boys and 1 girl. Robert, Jimmy, Robert, Donnie, John. Then their daughter popped up, and then Norman. I moved to Texas when I got married because Harold was a Texas guy, and we lived there until 1980. We moved back here, and Harold passed away at the VA hospital in Murfreesboro. So Jimmy and I lived together. I worked at Rose's 5 and 10 before I got married. I worked at the nursing home in Rockdale, Texas. Then I moved here. I worked at the nursing home in Asbury Acres. I worked there for almost 19 years. So I retired.
first thing I can remember, we lived at the Hauser place on Tuckaleechee, and it was right down from Union School. And I'm younger than Betty, but I was always bigger than her. And Daddy told me, he said, or told Mama, said, she's gonna be too big to go to school when she gets old enough. So they put me in school a year early. And that's the reason I'm so smart.
Yes, but you wasn't the only one that went to school early.
A whole year early?
I graduated when I was just barely 17, maybe 16.
18. This birthday.
I started school when I was 5.
I did too.
So I'm smart too.
Well, I always thought you was pretty smart.
Well, I can't say that I was smart because I lost a grade.
So did I.
So see, there's some of us that will
Not smart.
agree
You mean you
whether we're
failed?
smart or not.
You mean you failed?
I failed a grade.
You
I sure
failed?
did.
Me too.
Wow.
So see,
Did you fail, Ray?
we admit it.
I failed to fail. No, I didn't fail.
But I remember,
Not
Well, we're all smart though.
now when I got up in high school, now that's a different subject.
wasn't that different, wasn't it? But I remember whenever I was
Please.
going to school, I guess I was in about the first grade, that I stepped on a splinter in our kitchen at home. Well, they didn't take me to the doctor right away to get it out. And you know what? Betty and Dorothy carried me. Betty mostly.
Ain't
Would
glad.
carry me to school and back because we had no buses then. We had to walk to school.
Do you remember the time we had to carry you home? They let school out at 11 o'clock because it started snowing.
No, I don't remember
And
that.
it was so deep we had to carry you.
Well, that's probably true. I was kind of short.
I think Miss Birchfield carried you some too, didn't you?
I don't remember that at all. Only time I remember getting carried was when and they finally took me to the doctor and got it pulled out, so I was okay.
I remember the fun we had. We didn't have television there at the first till we older ones got grown, and we would make our own games up, and we'd play
Hully Go.
Anthony over,
Yeah.
and Mom and Daddy get out after supper, and if he felt like it, he would play with us, and we all had fun. I don't guess the littler ones remember anything like that, but we also would get at night. We would lay on our backs and look at the stars and try to pick out all the groups of the stars. And things like that was what we enjoyed.
I'm going to tell my first memory.
Okay.
And I must be about 3. Looked like I couldn't find my picture, but we had company from Oregon, and we was having a reunion. Now Ray helped me with this memory. I remember stealing a piece of gum out of one of the men's coat pocket. And I also remember the picnic tables out under the trees, and I told Ray, I said, I don't think I got on that picnic table by myself, the size I was. And he said, who was the men, Ron? Ray?
It was well, I wish you hadn't asked me.
They called him, anyway, they called him in the somebody called him in a picture at the end of the table, and me on the table, so
Let me ask Dory, there's two guys that are young.
William
One of them was
William
in
Waters.
Waters.
Bill Waters,
William Waters.
They were brothers,
Horace.
wasn't they? I think they were brothers.
Horace and Bill were brothers, weren't they?
Who?
Horace Waters and Bill.
But anyway, they was one standing up there egging her on, I think.
So all along, all these years, I had thought that it was me being mean, but they had put me up there, and Ray said
That could
he
have
thought
something
I
to do
went
with it.
running down the table, but I was
Probably did.
popping over bowls of food.
That might have had something to do with it too. It could have.
But
Probably good for
I
you,
got
too.
in more trouble for stealing the chewing gum.
You was closer to them over there than I was, that's why. No, I'm just kidding.
Now, I don't remember. I guess I forgot all about the chewing gum. Because Janice, you and Ray sort of, I tried to take up for you. God, this is so mean, I guess.
Somebody probably put
Getting
me
in
up
so much
getting the
trouble.
chewing gum to give them a
That's
piece.
how smart she was.
Well, I can't remember any of the things that they've been talking about. But some of the things that I can remember is Vernon and Dallas and I, we all played together a lot. And we were at the farmhouse, and the roof came down on the porch. It had an upstairs, and the roof came down. And we would set up a jogging. Do you know what a jogging thing is? It's when you'd put up like a big log or a cinder block or something like that up, and then put a board over it. And instead of seesawing, you would stand on it and jog. Well, Dallas would absolutely send me to the sky. I could almost look in the upstairs window when he would be a jogging with me. And it's a wonder we didn't get killed. I tell you, we played in the woods. We had so much fun, bending over little saplings and letting it go and one be on the sapling when it went. It's a wonder we didn't get killed. I mean, it's really a wonder. I remember one time that Vernon and I, Mama had packed us a lunch, and we were going to go down through the cornfield. She said, do not climb trees. Whatever you do, do not climb any trees. Well, we climbed a tree that was down there that we were sitting in under eating our lunch. Vernon fell out and he broke his wrist. Well, I played nurse for the rest of the week. I put his arm up in a sling so he wouldn't complain around Mama. and finally, it came out. He had hurt his wrist climbing the tree, so she had to take him to the doctor, and it had broken his wrist. So we were just full. It was completely different childhood then than it is now. We went out and we made our playhouses in the woods.
That's right.
Our trails that we wound around in. Dallas, I can remember he was always building little carts, and I'd say that Ray did too, to roll down the big hill down through the woods. Did you do anything like that?
He helped build a big one.
No. But anyway, they did that. And one other memory, when I was little. This one right here, this culprit right here, would carry
She's
me
pointing to you.
whenever he would go milking the cow. Be his chore to milk the cow. Set me on a stool, and then he would swish milk at me in my face. You did it too. So these are some of the special memories that I remember whenever I was little.
Squirt chickens.
I'll tell you one about him too. One time, he'll remember this one clearly, because one time me and him took the cat and put it down on that little roof. It come down over the porch like she was talking about. And he said, and it was hot in the summer. Oh, mercy, mercy, it's hot. And that tin roof was hot. So Daddy says, come on now, come on, let's go. So here we go upstairs. And he put Ray out on that roof first. And then he stuck me out after Ray. And I know he remembers that one. We're all against you here today.
You better start speaking up.
Well, I'll tell you one on Betty. Now, we was a little bit bigger. And we had a dog named Major. And he was tied around the corner of the house over there at that corner. 'Cause he was, every time Thurn Birchfield come down through there, he tried to get loose to get him, 'cause he broke a guitar neck, or whatever you call that thing, over him, because he's fighting his dog. But anyhow, we had him tied up so he wouldn't get a hold of Thurn, and Daddy told us to take some water and food out there for him. So we had a big old piece of cornbread left over from supper, and so Betty grabbed it, and I had to take the water. Well, we were scared to get up close to him, so Betty, she just went around the corner of the house. She pitched that cornbread over there. You better put that water up there where you can get it. Yeah, I'm going to tell Daddy. So she went in and told Daddy that I didn't put the water up where Major could get it. And he said, go out there and put it up where you can get it, Dorothy. And I was scared. And I was mad at you know who. And anyhow, I knew he was behind me, and I knew he was probably going to go with me. But I was mad. I went out that screen door and I slammed it. And he went on with me till I got it around there. He stayed with me whenever I got back in the house too. And he got the razor strap. So that's one of the whippings that she made me get.
Well, it was a choice
Did you ever
of
say?
me or her getting the bread and giving to her. So I made the choice.
Yes, she did.
And she
Still see her throwing it up there.
But one thing that I remember, and I always enjoy thinking about it, is we went and had a cow pasture baseball games on a Sunday evening. And after we'd go to church, a Sunday school church, and then we'd come home and eat lunch. And then Daddy would grab his chair, Mama would grab her chair, and we'd go down and play baseball all evening long. And I
With string.
enjoyed that.
With string. No ball, with string. Homemade ball.
I believe we all out-talked you, Ray, so you better start
Well, I
talking.
know at times it was.
I think
rode
we've all
real
talked,
tight.
and it's time for you to talk.
And used a stick for a bat. This was before we had enough money to get a bat. I wanted to be the twirler in the band when I was in high school, and I couldn't because we couldn't afford a $6 baton. I learned to twirl with a mop handle.
But think of all the many things we did have.
Yeah, we didn't know we was poor. I don't guess we was.
Tell Kelsey,
Huh?
tell Kelsey that she learned to twirl with a broom handle.
I'd get out, baseball games, I'd get out, Daddy'd have the big door open and screen door. I'd get out there with that and I'd strut up and down that. Well, I was a good one, I thought. Now somebody else talk. Martha,
It's his time.
you got something, Ray?
Yeah, but I don't know
Well,
what it is.
It jumped over left field, didn't it?
You don't know whose fault it
We
was.
went down
Is it
to
on?
granddaddy's and
It is.
Aunt Leon's and grandpapa's and grandmama's.
Goodness gracious.
And Daddy-
She's talking again.
Saw grandmama getting up, backing up against the fireplace with her long dress on, and it scared
it
him. And he thought that she'd catch fire. So one day he says, Grandpapa and Grandmama, I want you to think about this. I said, I want you to come and live with us if you want to. Says, Grandmama's gonna get your car. She's gonna burn up. And says, she's welcome, y'all welcome to come. So the next time we went down there, they had their things packed and ready to come, because he was willing. He had to walk down a big hill to get to the spring. And in the wintertime, that was hard. And so they came and lived with us as long as Grandpapa lived. He died in 1938. And so Grandmama went back down and lived with Aunt Lee and Granddaddy.
I remember one time Daddy let Bud take some of us kids in a buggy, and Ray said that it was more of a sled. Did you say, Ray, that you all built?
Well, it was a sled, yeah, that we built. I mean, I guess I had a little bit to do with
I mean,
it.
this was used to be the old Wallen Highway at Tuckleach Pike. Now, we went.
But anyway, you know, if you used it on the farm, like when you're digging potatoes, you know, and to haul the potatoes. Yeah. But anyway, we were going over to Uncle Jim Stephens and had old Granny, the mare that we used to plow with. And you remember old Granny?
Yeah. One that sat down on the haystack.
But anyway, we were going down the New Orleans Highway there, and that there's a runner off that sled broke off, and that's what she's referring to there.
But that is
What did you have to do, carry it home?
that's unusual that he would let us go. You know.
But anyway, getting back to Daddy there, he started to, when he had to catch the work bus to go to Alcoa to work, and when he had to take a shortcut, he took a shortcut down through the woods that was right behind our house. And when he was going down through the woods, me and Buddy was down there in the woods, and he told us, "Now you boys get on back up at the house now." And said, "I'm going to work, and I don't want you down here in the woods, not here." We said, "Okay, that's all right." So anyway, just as soon as he got down and on down there on the road, and he had another quarter of a mile to go now to catch the bus. Anyway, there was a big old, not a big old tree. There's a tree down there, and had muscadines vines in it. Your kids might not know what a muscadine is. I mean, well, no, your kids. But anyway, Dallas climbed that tree, and I was going to climb it. He said, no, I said, you let me climb. He said, I can reach farther than you can. I can reach out there and get muscadines. So I said, okay. I said, just be careful now. Oh, I will. So he got up there on the limb and broke off with him. Right down on the ground. Well, I think Dorothy might be able to help me on this in a minute, but wait a minute. That night, when Daddy come home from work, he was on 2 to 10 shift. Well, Mama come in there and told him, said, well, said, we got one of them got hurt today or something like that effect. And was it you that he come out there and saw he had that broke arm?
That was Dallas.
I mean Dallas, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who did I say? I
thought you said Bud.
No,
I don't know.
But anyway, he
I stayed up till he come home.
Yeah, he had a little talk with you, didn't he?
Well, I stayed up because I knew he'd get mad at Mama.
Yeah.
We'd get hurt and he'd get mad. And I stayed up that night until he come home.
But there's a lot of little instances like that where with Daddy, he had quick temper.
Whenever
And a heavy hand.
I guess I was about 9 probably, and we had to heat our dishwater on the stove, and Mama said, don't take that hot water off, get somebody to help you. And so guess what Janice done? She's gonna do it herself, and just turned that pan out and hot water scalded me. And Daddy thought that it would help if he put a hot iron up to my chest, to draw out the heat. But Mama wouldn't let him do that either. She said, no, I'm not going to do that.
I remember one time, and you don't even know about this.
Who don't?
You don't even know about this.
I don't want to hear
One
it.
time, we in under our stair steps going upstairs out of the bedroom, we just piled all of our shoes in there. So one day I was looking for a pair of shoes. Well, there's a window right there at where the stairs goes up, and I was in there looking for my shoes, and I couldn't find the mate for it. So I was slinging shoes around, and I slung one over and hit the window and broke the window.
Said it's me.
And I think they blamed it on Janice, and I never did tell
And you
her the
let 'em.
difference.
Well, that's okay.
I was mean.
I
guess.
got Dallas back then, because remember that time I got that baton for Christmas, and we was told not to twirl it in the house,
Don't do it.
and I hit somebody with it and blamed it on Dallas, so he's
Yo.
the one that got in trouble.
Y'all got a baton, and I couldn't get one.
Betty was our Santa Claus.
Yeah, Betty was mine for us.
We have tempers in our family. One time, these two were fighting, and I was in between.
What'd you do
And
to
this
Betty?
one
Throw the fork.
This one threw something, some kind of an object, spoon, fork, knife. It was a paring knife at this one and hit this one right here in the eye. So there, you know, my mom, God bless her heart, I don't know how in the world she stood us. I really don't.
That's why she sent us to the woods every day.
Yeah, she'd pack mine and Vernon's lunch and send us out to eat.
It'd be the orphanage would have been full.
But some of the memories that are probably more recent, you know, it was when Mama was living. I can remember the Christmases, of course. I'm sure that everybody remembers the Christmases there in that little house. You know, you didn't even have hardly wall-to-wall room, you know, to stand. But anyway, I remember for years and years, I didn't get married until I was about, let's see, I was 35 when I got married. And of course, I always decorated the Christmas tree. And then after I got married, I would go back, I would take days off from work, and I'd go back and I'd decorate her tree for her. Well,
Because we couldn't do it right.
yeah, that's right. And whenever, no, I would let her go through all of the Christmas ornaments. She would take them out of the box and she'd look at each one of them. And each time, you know, whenever she did, that's what took so long to get it decorated. But this memory is one that was sweet and sad. But it was after Mama was dead, had died, while we all, you know, took ornaments that we had gotten her for Christmas, while everyone got their ornaments back. And then there was other ornaments that we let the grandkids, you know, go through and all. Well, every year when I would, for about 2 years, I always missed a box of ornaments for my tree. I could not find them. I would go to our storage building and I would look for the ornaments, and I couldn't find the ornaments. Well, one year I went around to all of the houses and was looking at their Christmas trees, and there was the ornaments. There was my ornaments that I had been missing and looking for. It was Mama's ornaments, you know, but they had just been ingrained in my memory so much. I thought they were my ornaments. I mean, I was bringing them, trying to find them. And so after that, I had no problem.
I didn't steal it.
No, you didn't steal. No one stole them.
Who had them?
You did. You had some, and Janice had some, and Velma, and Martha, and
Janice
Ray,
probably gave them to me.
Betty. They all had them. But it was the ones they had given to Mom.
Oh, I can tell you one about Gladys and Betty. With playing hopscotch. I don't know if y'all know what hopscotch is, but you have to have a little flat piece of glass work just fine, didn't it, Betty? Well, Gladys could make you mad as a whiz, and she made Betty mad. Betty threw that glass she was using, stuck her right there. You remember that?
With a bunch of throwers.
I'm sure glad I didn't throw anything.
And I'll tell you something that was the difference between my mama and my daddy. Mama come up the hard way. Well, Daddy did too. But after he got older, well, Gladys was the oldest one. And when we graduated from the 8th grade, we had a big graduation. Well, the way it had happened, all three of us, Betty and me and Gladys, all graduated because I graduated early. But anyhow, Gladys was wanting to go first and get her clothes. So she talked Daddy into taking her. They went to Badgett's store uptown. He got her, everybody had said they's going to buy going to graduate in a skirt and blouse. He got her a nice skirt and blouse, a slip, and I guess underwear. And then when it come time for me and Betty to go, Mama took us to Badgett's, bought us a little blue cotton dress, just alike, remember? We got over there, we didn't get a skirt and blouse. Our dress didn't cost as much as Gladys's slip, because Daddy bought it. And we got up there on the stage that night, and Marianne Brown, she come up and she's talking about Gladys looking so good, and she said, and Dorothy, yours and Betty's, they're just so cute. Now that was the difference between Mom and Daddy.
Well, now Daddy was one to buy. He was one to buy good stuff.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
he bought anything, he bought good stuff. Now I don't remember that so much, but just being told by the rest of them that like shoes. I mean, he would get expensive shoes. You may just have one pair, but you'd have a good pair of shoes.
To wear all year long.
We'd have one, go to start school, we would have one outfit. And we wore what we'd had.
Well, Mama made a lot of our clothes.
I outgrew.
Mama made a lot of our clothes too.
Yeah.
Out of flour sacks.
Out of flour sacks.
Yeah.
His shirts too.
And that's pretty too, because they'd starch. She'd make a broomstick skirt.
They would make flour sacks. They would make them with flowers and stripes and things like that, and they was beautiful.
For a while.
She made our bloomers
Yeah, for a
too.
while they did that.
But they, every time you wash them, they'd fade out.
Oh, well, I didn't remember that part.
Didn't they?
Yeah, but I had one white one with big red flowers on it. And she'd starch them. She'd made her starch and starched them. Then sprinkled them and then ironed them. And it just ironed out so pretty. I think I wore that one in high school.
Well, I took home economics in high school, and my first dress that I had to make, I made out of a flour sack.
Now, I'll tell you something. Daddy, one Sunday, we had to clean up the house. And he went over in Alcoa somewhere and got this, we called her Aunt Sally Stephens, to come and stay with Mama before Dallas was born. And when he come back, he said, I got bad news. Said, we're at war. Said, the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. So they thought Dallas was going to be born that night. So we had to go to Aunt Florence's. And me and Betty and Martha, and I don't know, maybe Ray, there's a whole bunch of us slept in one bed in Mama's little pink bedroom. And the mail planes would come over, and I'd hide under the pillow.
Well, they'd
'Cause I
make us
thought it
turn
was-
out the lights at home
A lot
at
of
night.
times.
If
Yeah.
you heard a plane come over, you turned out
Blackouts.
the lights.
And but I'd hide my head under the pillow thinking it was the Japanese coming to bomb us.
Well, that's
But then, after a while, they got rationing. I mean, you had to have rationing stamps to buy anything.
I still got some of them.
I do too.
The stamps. But anyway, that's how margarine come in, because the troops got the butter, and that's how margarine came to be. But anyway, one time, every so often you'd have to get them renewed. So we was all over, we was just kids. Well, maybe in high school. Well, we was in high school. We were over at Union School handing out rationing stamps and getting all the information and everything. And we was outside on the basketball court playing ball, and Gladys twisted her ankle and fell, and Clyde Holstenbach fell on that leg or stepped on it or something. And that night we was going to church, and her and Joanne Helton was supposed to sing. And she hid that from Mama. And she walked out of sight, and then we got one on each side of her. And she hopped all the way down to Wilkerson Pike till, I guess, Miss Catherine or Miss Carrie won, picked us up and took us. And the next day she was blue to her knee.
Let me tell you one about Daddy now. He was ill-tempered. I think we'll all agree with that. And he was ready to take that stick to you, or belt, or whatever he had.
Who's that race?
Well, I cannot remember, I cannot recall one time that he disciplined me by using. Now they'll tell you different. They can remember it, but I cannot. Maybe he might have got me so bad that I couldn't. I didn't know. But I don't remember a time that he.
Now, I remember one time for me.
Well, but I cannot.
Well, I can remember
You can't
twice
remember
for
him
myself
whipping you?
because
No, I cannot
I had
remember.
sores on the back of my legs, and I was supposed to be carrying water and using the pump that I've got a picture of to carry it down to the cows. And I was there, I was pumping, and I was being slow. He come out with a switch, and I started saying, "Oh, my sores, oh, my sores." Of course, I had a dress on, and he didn't whip me. So, and another time, Mama wouldn't let him for other purposes, but for me not doing the dishes. But I mean, that's only 2 times I ever remember that he ever. I can't even remember him scolding me. You know, I'm sure he probably did, but I don't remember it.
And I remember one time now that I should have been beat up. I should have. Really should have. And it happened right here in this room. And it happened about that second row from the back, right behind me. And I was crawling around, and poor Gladys, I tell you what,
She got whooped.
I just wouldn't mind her. I mean, she tried to get me to settle down. You know, I was crawling from one row to the next row. So she finally she got me out of church and took me home. We walked home through the woods over here. And Daddy, who did he whip? Wasn't me. It was Gladys. Did she ever tell you anything like that? She did.
Yeah,
I mean, he really.
I remember it.
He really put the belt to her.
I remember him whipping her one time because she asked him the second time if she could get her a permanent.
And he, but I didn't. I mean, but I have felt bad about that ever since. I mean, I still do.
How old were you
I was probably
About
four,
Tucker's age.
4 or 5,
Yeah.
something like that. Old enough to know better.
Well, when you sit by him in church, you know to sit still because your legs get pinched off
Yeah.
if you didn't sit still.
But I was probably, I don't know, 4. I was probably about, when you say 4-year-old, maybe.
Yeah.
I guess I was about that age whenever, maybe a little bit older than, oh yeah, I was older than that because Vernon was younger than me. Well, he got us to sleep one night, this fellow right here. Got us to sleep one night, and he rocked and rocked and rocked. Got both of us up, lugged us to the bed, and laid us down, and we started giggling whenever he got us laid down. And he had to struggle to get both of us to the bed, you know. But he thought he had us asleep, and we just giggled whenever he laid us down. Do you remember that?
No.
You don't remember that?
I remember one time.
Yeah, I remember something about that.
When we went to bed early, you know, or whatever, whoever went to bed first is who we got to bed with. And then we'd have to move over to the, you know, like the girls getting to bed with the boys when we first go to bed, and then we'd have to move over into the bed when the other girls go to bed. Well, one night, so here, I think it was Bud. I don't know if Ray was in that bed or not, but I went in there and I was right up on that bed, and I told him, I said, now don't tell her that I'm not asleep when she comes. It's Betty, a little bitty thing. I was about 10 years old. And whenever she come to get me over the bed with her, well, then I just was limp. And she picked me up, struggled hard, put me over in the bed with her bed, and I started laughing just as hard as I could laugh.
Did she slap you?
She could have strung me up. No, she didn't. She didn't hit me. I know she
could
felt
slap
like
you
it.
and it'd burn like fire.
Well, I remember one time Gladys, we lived up on the farm, and then Gladys lived in a house just down the driveway. And me and Mom had been out in the cornfield. I guess some of the others had too, I don't know, but we'd been out in the cornfield. I guess you've heard of pack saddles and how they sting and everything. Well, I got a pack saddle between my toes. And my mom, we got to the house, and there was a shelf out on the back porch, and she had me sitting up on that shelf. Well, here come Gladys. She was coming. I was screaming bloody murder, and she came. She thought that I was dying or something, you know. And then when she got up there, she was so mad at me because all I had was a pack saddle speed.
Oh,
Well, I'll tell you something on Sandy too and Gladys. Sandy can't stand a spider. And we were sitting out in the backyard at Mama's, and Gladys, I think, was on the porch up at her house. And she started screaming one time because there was a spider. And Gladys could hear her up through the field. Like scared Gladys to death because...
Well, that did too, because she scared her to death, and she's...
I remember one time Daddy had us out in the garden cutting weeds. And he says, now, y'all go ahead and get this cut now. We gotta get them under control. So he went to the house, and we maybe struck a time or two again, and then we was just hanging on the hole. He come back out and he says, hey, what's the matter? You're supposed to be going, not hanging on it. And he says, we're tired. He says, Well, you can rest when you die. To get at these weeds. So we had to get out and get them weeds cut for us.
You remember how one of us used to lead old Granny and the other go back to hold up the plow? One would lead instead of one doing both. We'd lead. Bud would usually want to hold up the plow.
Now, was that Granny? Was that
Well, I don't know
no,
about.
it was that other one. Because we got one before we got Granny.
Well, it might have been that
And
one.
and you couldn't. He'd run with you until he made 2 or 3 rows, you know, and then he'd settle down. But you didn't. You'd have to lead him.
Yeah. I guess it might have been him. But anyhow, it was one of them.
Yeah.
And I wish we'd have got a picture of that.
We had the best meals in the summertime out of our garden. Mama could make the best food. And Ray always could manage to get sent away from the table about ever. I bet you at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Say what?
Sent away from the table.
Because he'd get us to laughing.
we'd get to laughing.
Get
Daddy
tickled.
He couldn't stand.
And he'd go in the other
bedroom?
room, the bedroom next to the
And knock on the wall, yeah,
knock on the
to
wall
get us
to
tickled.
laugh.
Yeah, that's mostly when June Keener was there.
Yeah. When June and Catherine.
Blame it on June.
Yeah, well, I mean, she'd be laughing right now if she was here.
She's looking down on us right now.
She's probably laughing at what we're saying, too.
I know one time, Mama, we always had flies. And we'd get cup towels and run them out the door.
Well, there's so many of us going in and out the
We
door
always
all
had-
the time, you know, that,
All of us kids, we always had holes in the screen.
well, we was going in and out of them all
Yeah.
the time, too.
And we just 3 or 4 of us get those, well, we called them dish towels or dish rags or something. And we'd get one in each hand and we'd just get a whole bunch of them and run them out the door. But anyhow,
You got something else?
Daddy would, we'd turn the plates upside down and put the spoons underneath it and fork. And one time, Daddy was feeding us something, and probably beans. And I didn't turn my plate up to get them, and he just put them on the bottom side of the plate. Maybe you had to get off the table one time, didn't you?
Oh, it was you.
No,
It was you that
broke it. Broke the plate.
No.
Was that the time I was thinking
Yeah.
that he put it on top of the.
No, you put it on, well, you broke the plate.
Our memories.
Well, anyhow.
We used to have a water bucket and a dipper.
Dipper.
And we'd just go, you know, I'd go get me a drink and Sandy'd come behind me and stick that same dipper
Yeah.
down in there and
But we was told not to put no water back in there that you didn't drink. You had to pour it in the washpan.
right.
Yeah, you was supposed to do that.
And you know where that water bucket sat? When Daddy would come home, Ray was talking about him having to walk to catch the bus and back. Well, he would come in from work. He would come through the kitchen door. And he had a little cup there for his teeth. He'd take his teeth out and put them in that little cup as he come through the back door. He'd go through the door to the bedroom. He'd take off his hat and he'd put it on the post of the bed. Then he would go to the living room, take off his glasses and put them on the mantle. I mean, that was just a constant thing that he did. And you know, that's a real memory of him doing those things. and knowing that he had walked all the way from after he'd worked for 8 hours. He really sacrificed for us because there was 11 of us, and he really sacrificed.
And
for
before
us.
he'd go to work, like especially on 2 to 10, he'd get every one of us kids and kiss us before he went to work.
No matter if we was out in the woods playing, he'd call us in
Yeah.
before he went to work.
And one time I was mad at him about something. And when it got about time for him to go to work, I went to the toilet. And I sat down there till after he went to work. I didn't kiss him. And I worried all night till he got home that something might happen to him, and I didn't kiss him before he went to work. But that was just a ritual. But I always kissed him from then on. Kenneth Tucker may know why. But one time, Mama went in the house. She was upset. And she got the fly spray, come back out and sprayed Kenneth. Good. And you remember how we used to chase all of them, all the guys that was coming into our family? We'd chase them and hug them, and they'd run.
And they broke my husband's
Ribs. wasn't it?
wrist.
Yeah.
Ribs.
Well,
his
we
ribs.
didn't break it.
They made him fall. They
We didn't tell him to run.
No, we just told him we was gonna hug him. And he run.
and he ran.
That's the way
And he
we
broke his
called
rib. He
him.
fell
We
and
called
broke his
him.
rib.
Mama wants you to tell about.
Oh, Gladys and Clyde Olsenbach.
Well, they had a crush on each other. I guess when they was in grade school and in high school. But, you know, that was it, you know.
You said, you talked about that, you beat up that girl one time.
Jeanette,
Oh,
her and Gladys and Jeanette getting in a fight over.
well, let's get it.
We all got.
Yeah, he went to the birthday party. We went to a birthday party for Clyde. And Jeanette had a crush on him too.
Well, who had a crush on him, you or Gladys?
Gladys.
Okay.
And Gladys, we was coming home and she said Jeanette was mad because Gladys, he paid more attention to Gladys. And so I don't know exactly how he got into a fight. I mean, we got into actually fight there in the middle of the road.
Yeah, me too.
And I was on his back, and I'm in her back, and Gladys was fighting the front part, you know, and it was just going like that. And Dorothy was, I don't know where she
Well,
was,
the
standing
reason-
back and watching us, I guess.
The reason they got in the fight, the big fight, was Jeanette said, "Yeah," I said, "my daddy's a deputy sheriff and your daddy ain't nothing." That's what got in the fight.
Yeah.
We said, "Yeah, your daddy's a fee grabber."
And they lived just right down from us.
Yeah, right across from where Granny lives.
Where,
Lived
yeah, where she
I
lives
live.
Right there
now.
where the house,
Yeah,
where
where Miss Tipton.
But then we walked home together. We was friends after it's over with.
I remember Betty telling me this. We'd walk home from school, and there was Jimmy Lynn Long lived just down from the school. And her mama worked at Profits, and her daddy worked at the plant, so she was the only child, so she had pretty clothes. She had little breath mints that she'd bring to school and all these little things. She told Betty after they got grown, she said, I would think that I would like to be your all sister and go on home with you instead of going here at the house and staying by myself. Till they got home. So we were sort of jealous, and they're the ones that got us to wearing breeches to school, wasn't she? Her and Ruth Davis, maybe Margaret. First time I ever wore jeans out anywhere was the preacher at this church come and got us one night. We was fixing to wash the dishes, and they came and knocking on the door and said, come on, come as you are. We're having a come as you are party. And I had jeans on. That's the first time I ever wore jeans out from the house. I tell you something that I'd tell my kids. I don't know if I've told my grandkids, but they couldn't believe it. I can remember the first hamburger I ever ate. I can remember Mama giving us a quarter when we was going to high school. We'd go, and I had a ritual. Before school, I'd get me a Coke out of the Coke machine. At lunch, I'd get me another Coke and a pack of cheese crackers and something else. If there was any nickel candy bars, I'd get one. Then I'd have another one when I was waiting on the bus in the afternoon, get me another Coke with a quarter. I never got hungry.
Well, you know what I'd do with a quarter when I was going to school?
Go to Brong's.
Huh?
Go to Brong's store.
I'd go over there. Bessie
Allen.
had it, had
Yeah.
a store. It was the wrong store. But I could get me and that was lunch meat, lunch. That I'd have you could buy a dope, you'd say.
Yeah.
You could buy a Coke or Pepsi or whatever for a nickel, and you could buy any kind of crackers or cake
Cookies.
for a dime. You could buy cookies and a. But you could buy. I could buy enough where I was satisfied, and I could buy. I could buy 10 cigarettes. I'm not kidding you. And
What, they'd open a pack and sell you 10?
oh yeah, she'd have back then. You could buy a pack of cigarettes for 10 cents. I mean, you could buy a pack for 20 cents.
Did you ever go back out behind the
Wait a minute
smokehouse?
now. You could buy a pack for 20 cents. And I could poke them in my pocket, and Mama never knew the difference.
Go out behind the gym and smoke one too.
And go out to the gate. You go out the gate after each class. If you wanted to, I didn't do it. I mean, but because I just had 10 to play on,
For till the next day, huh?
and I did. I mean, I did that. Sure did.
I wasn't that mean. there's one more memory. Do you have time? One more memory that I remember that one of the pastors here at the church came and one night, and he just stood and looked in the door. He said one was combing Daddy's hair and, just doing different things. And I don't know about Mama. I don't know if it was
Mama was sewing.
doing, with her, but, and he came back to the church and was telling what he had observed at our house, just the love
come on
that
in.
we had.
Nobody
Well,
else
yeah, he
wanted
did
to
come
there
on in
watch.
later, but, he stood there and watched, though.
But he didn't tell our names. He just,
No,
We knew that
yeah,
we all looked at each other because we knew.
yeah.
I was combing his hair, and somebody was,
Somebody was rubbing his feet,
Yeah.
Yeah.
cutting his toenails,
I think Martha was rubbing his feet,
chair.
wasn't she?
cutting his toenails, I believe.
I didn't remember what he was doing.
I
but-
was the runt, and so I was the one that could do that.
What?
Sit on the back of the chair
Oh,
with my feet.
But it was, that was,
Yeah.
that's a memory that others saw, too.
Well, I want people to know that we were always close and loving family, and it went down from our siblings to the grandchildren to the great grandchildren. It went on down through the years. I guess.
and I remember how, before Mama died, how the great-grandkids would come over and just love to come over and sit in Mama's backyard, and we'd shuck corn, break beans, and what else did we do?
Whittle.
Whittle,
Yeah, we whittled a lot.
told lies.
We had a liar's bench.
I would say, take them to church, and I mean, we were took to church here. I didn't always live it. In later days, I did. Then in later days again, though, I did. And take them to church.
One Sunday, Ray and Bud brought us to church and then left and was in a car wreck right down the road here. And Mama said, see, if you'd have stayed in church.
You remember these two teeth up here, how they used to curve around?
Broke his jaw
And it happened just right down the road. I mean,
Well, what I would like for the future generations to remember and to kind of work on, it was for the older ones to teach their kids, teach them about what we've done, and our generation. And then the next generation, will know, and they could teach. Leave them pictures. Leave them pictures that are labeled, that tells who is on the picture, and just let them know what we were, and hopefully that will get them. I mean, they are a part of our blood and everything, so that they are going to, do things a lot like we do, but just leave them things, just to leave them recipes. Do all kinds of things like that. I have a book of the little book that's got some recipes in it, in my mama's handwriting, and I want to share those, and I made copies of them, so I want to share them with others. If ever you want one, just let me know, and I'll be glad to. I've got a book down there now that I didn't bring that book with the recipes in, but I may have some recipes in that box down there for giveaways. So just everybody, just teach their kids the right way to be, the right things to do. Teach them about God and His loving grace.
I got a Bible that I bought in Rockdale, Texas, when I was out there. And when I come back to Tennessee, well, Mama was reading it. I mean, she liked it. She was reading, and so I saw that she took to it, So when I left, I give it. I told her, Mom, you can have that Bible. You can use it. I told her, I said, you can have it. Oh no, Ray, that's your Bible. I said, well, you can use it, and I still got the Bible I can use. So she did, and she wrote in that Bible passages, and I'll tell you what, I get it out sometimes now and read it, see what was on her mind, and all that. But she was marking,
Scriptures.
And it wrote, through. And but there's more spots that she was focused on than she was others, And that's it.
I never did buy any.
I'd like to stress all the love that we've
Well,
had
now
for each
Bessie,
other.
she
So all the kids, all the people from here on will know where we are from.
We'd fight at times, and but you didn't let nobody else fight one of us, But just that you can do these things and yet get over it, and not have to, not stay on it all the time, and just to live their lives like they should, and the way they were brought up.